This game is hot garbage. Pro Skater 5 came out in 2015 and was meant to be the return of the franchise. And I gotta admit, I was very hyped for the game. The Tony Hawk franchise is one of my favorite game series. So you can imagine how shocked I was to realize that not only was it returning, but it was also a sequel to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4. We haven't got an official Pro Skater game in years. And sadly, Activision capitalized on this opportunity to give it to one of the worst developers possible, Robomoto, the devil incarnate. The weird thing is, Robomoto also worked on Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD. Now don't get it twisted, Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD was not that great of a game. However, to me, seeing as Neversoft wasn't the one that created that game but Robomoto, I felt they did a decent enough job on their first time out. Unfortunately, they didn't learn anything from the previous game, and in fact only got worse over time. And if I had known they were the ones that made those bad Tony Hawk gimmick games with the plastic skateboard, I would have had no hope for this game at all. Let's start with the very bare bones modes that this game has. You have career, create a player, and create a park. So essentially you only have really one game mode that's actually playable. The other two are just for customizing your character or making a creative part. The creative part was bare bones at launch, and now you can't even use it. Seeing as the online servers are turned off, you can no longer share your creative parts or download creative parts made by other players. So unless you want to create a part just for yourself, it's pretty much a useless feature. Not like there was a lot of options in creation anyway. The creative player is where it gets really baffling. The Tony Hawk Pro Skater franchise allows you to create a skater ever since Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2, which was a PlayStation 1 game, and somehow this game is more limited than that game was. You can only pick your head and a preset body type. You can also choose what skateboard you want as well. The weird thing is there is no actual custom character. You see, everybody that you choose from is actually a pro skater, and none of them have any stats, which is really weird. And you're able to just overwrite the way they look and make a custom character out of them. I feel this was just some laziness on their part because it makes no sense they couldn't just have a dedicated custom character slot. The only pro I can say about this customization feature is that it's pretty goofy. So if you're into making wacky looking characters, you can definitely do that, but it's still limited. Now let's get to the important part of the game, which is the career mode and the skating itself. This again is very limited, even compared to Tony Hawk HD, which Robomoto made. When it comes to overall controls and feels, this game feels horrible all the time. Remember, this game was supposed to have an online component, and even though the servers are off and you can play in a private lobby, which is offline, the game was constantly made to save. So not only are the controls pretty wonky, but the game is constantly saving, making the game judder all over the place. All trick and movement advancements that was created in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 are pretty much gone here, and this game feels like a blend between Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 3. So even though this is the 5th Pro Skater game, and technically 10th in the overall franchise, it's a step back in every way possible when it comes to its gameplay. The new feature they added here is this weird slam mechanic. Instead of grinding like normal in every other Tony Hawk game, you end up slamming down on each rail. In theory, it sounds cool, and I'll admit it even looks cool, but it doesn't work very well. Due to the game being jittery and the controls being off, every time you slam down on a rail, you don't know if you'll actually hit the rail or not. The player kind of magnetized to the rail when you slam, but sometimes he'll magnetize to the rail when you don't slam. So you never know what your player is going to do, and it leads you to break out of a combo when you don't mean to. Or sometimes you'll slam and you'll just fall through the map. They also changed the special meter as well. In every other Tony Hawk game, you build up a combo and then you had your special meter. Once you have special, you can enter certain button inputs to do special moves at your will. In this game, once you build your meter, every trick, no matter what you do, is a special move, which does make it easier to do for new players, but all it does is take control away from the player. And if you get your special mid-combo, sometimes you can activate it and sometimes you can't, which means you have to break a long combo just to use your special moves. The missions in this game are very dumb, and there's just no other way to describe them. Sure, you got your basic, get your high score, collect skate, get the secret tape type stuff, but Robomoto seemed to want to make everything go big. So you can have a big head, or you can turn your body big, or hit a bunch of big balls out of a pool. It's a bunch of big fetishy stuff going on here, and I don't know what's going through these guys' head. There's also these power-ups you can pick up, and yeah, these kind of look cool, but again, all they are just make you go big. There is one I like that turns your manual into this kind of superpower type push, but overall these things were just gimmicky and stupid. And what's a Tony Hawk game without its stages? Each level in this game is just one big circle, which is why it's very simple to do tricks in this game. And there are no NPCs in any of the stages. Remember, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 had NPCs. Hell, even Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 had NPCs, you just didn't really interact with them. What was supposed to replace the NPCs was the online community. Going back to the online features that you can't use anymore, what was supposed to happen is this game was supposed to be popular, which meant that other players would be on the map when you were skating around. And many missions can be played in co-op as well. But seeing as this game is dog shit, that never really happened. Robomoto just dropped the ball when it came to this game. The foundation that the Tony Hawk franchise laid down for them was already there. All they had to do was study it and master it. And it's so weird because Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD, like I said, it wasn't great, but it was close enough. And somehow they just went 10 steps backwards. I don't know if it was the budget, I don't know if they were rushed, I don't know if they just didn't give a fuck. But whatever it is, this game just was not it. And what makes it worse is that this Tony Hawk game actually had cool special characters in it. Lil Wayne, Tyler the Creator, and all of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. In the worst Tony Hawk game possible, you can't make this stuff up. I was getting a headache just replaying this game again. And the sad part of it all is, there are times when you could play this game and you could say, this could have been at least decent, until you're reminded that all that is Robomoto actually executing the very basic things that Neversoft did over 10 years ago. I wouldn't even recommend this game out of curiosity. Just buy Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 and ignore this stain on the franchise.